Hi everyone, Adam McKenzie here from Strong and Sexy, and I want to welcome you to the Strong and Sexy studio today to quickly run through one of the biggest questions that I always deal with women day to day. And I'm a visual person, so I wanted to do it in a visual picture for you so that you can really start to understand why it's really important to include all aspects of your training if your goal is fat loss. Now, how to burn fat, okay, is not that complicated, but we tend to always overcomplicate it with different types of diets and fads and training and everything else. But if you look at how the body burns fat, it's really not that complicated, okay? And I'm going to be drawing here, so hopefully I'll do better than my children do when they draw on the whiteboard, but probably not. But what I want you to understand is everybody has a base metabolic rate, okay? And what that means is you have a rate that you burn body fat at rest. Okay, so this green line here represents what probably your base metabolic rate is. Now, depending on how much exercise you've done in the past, depending on how much exercise you do currently, will depend on how high that rate is. The other thing that will depend on how high that rate is the amount of lean muscle mass that you have on your body, okay? That's not big bulky muscle that you need to worry about, it's lean muscle mass. I'm going to explain that a little bit more here, okay? Now, common conception is that when you do cardio or when you do some form of exercise, you burn calories, so you burn fat. I'm going to show you how that really works, okay? I got pink here for cardio. Now, basically when you do cardio, let's say you do an hour walk, an hour run or bike ride or swim, whatever you do, but it's not really intense, but maybe you do it for 30 to 60 minutes, okay? What tends to happen is your heart rate goes up in the beginning, all right? You tend to level out a little bit, you sort of get in your comfort zone, your rhythm, as you know. You sort of don't think about your breathing at that point because you're just going, you're in your groove. All right, then what will happen is after you've done that for a while, you'll stop, heart rate will come back down, you'll recover, and most of the time, depending on how hard you push yourself, you could probably go and do it again, or at least you'll do it again the next day and you won't be too sore, it won't be too hard for you to be able to repeat. Okay, how this affects your metabolism is as you're having to adjust, your metabolism increases. It's still burning more calories as you go along because you're exerting, your heart rate's up more than normal, so you're burning more calories than normal to fuel your body. As soon as you stop, so does your metabolism or the metabolic effect of what you've been doing, you know, during that walk, run, or anything else that you've been doing for that type of cardio, okay? And the problem is that if you have a lot of calories to burn or if fat loss is your goal, you're only really burning fat during exercise. There's no really sort of lasting effect or afterburn effect is what I call it after you finish that type of exercise, okay? The next thing that you want to take into account here is the type of cardio that you're doing. Now, if you're only doing this type of cardio, maybe you're only starting back at exercise or you have a lot of injuries or whatever else, and this is the best way that you thought to get back into your cardio, all right? I'm going to show you something now that's hopefully going to change how you approach your cardio, and it's how we get all of our strong and sexy women to do cardio on our program, okay? Now, because it's exciting, I'm going with purple. All right, and what I want you to understand here is not only are you going to be able to burn more calories with this type of cardio, which I'm about to show you, but it's really time efficient, which nowadays with all of us being so busy, if you've got a family, if you've got a busy working life or social life, you're still going to be able to fit this in, okay? What it's called is high intensity interval training, okay? And the high intensity part is where a lot of people get scared off, all right? But I want you to understand that it doesn't really have anything to do necessarily with killing yourself every time. It just means that when you're working at a high work rate. So the intensity is higher than normal, okay? So you're working to push your body to have to cope with more, okay? And there's many ways to do this, all right? You could be doing, you know, something where you walk uphill for a minute, recover back downhill, walk up a flight of stairs, recover back downhill, run a little bit faster for a minute, recover, run, jog. You know, there's a whole lot of things, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, increasing the amount of time you're working, decreasing the amount of recovery you have. All of these things, all right, make your body adapt, all right, and this is what it looks like, okay? Maybe as you're doing your training, you go, like I said, up, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, whatever it might be, you're moving along like this, okay? Now, the beautiful part about this is, all right, With this type of training, like I said, you're going to be working harder, but because you're working harder, you're not working for as long, okay? Which means, again, you don't have to commit to as much time, all right? But here's where it's so beneficial. What happens when you finish doing that type of exercise is your metabolism stays up for longer, all right? Research has proven it can stay up between 36 to 48 hours after you've done that particular type of exercise. All right, now what that means for you is that the 20 minutes that you do in the morning or the half hour or in the evening, whenever you can fit it in, all right, not only are you working hard and burning calories during that exercise, but when you finish, okay, it's keeping that base metabolic rate up 36 to 48 hours after that training. So we're constantly fueling that fire, that fat burning furnace that's going to make sure that you keep burning fat after you train, rather than when we do this long slow cardio, you're only really burning during. Once you finish, heart rate comes back down, you come back to normal, there's no really afterburn effect that's going to happen from that type of cardio. All right, now here's the key. This is the number one thing that's going to make sure that you lose fat and keep it off forever, okay? And that is lean muscle mass. And don't be afraid, like I said before, it's not big bulky muscle, but how it works, okay, is, let's take our green line for instance here, right? Let's say that that base metabolic rate is based on your fitness, your activity level, but also the amount of lean muscle mass you have, okay? Let's say you start working on some strength work, all right? Like with our Strong and Sexy program, maybe you start on a beginner level, intermediate, whatever it might be, but you're just getting started into a strength training program, all right? You're gonna get a little bit stronger, all right? You go a little bit longer, you change your program, you increase what you're doing, you're changing your workouts around, we're gonna increase again, all right? And then as you repeat this process, what's gonna happen, hopefully you can see my beautiful drawing, but what's gonna happen is now your base metabolic rate, is up a lot higher than it ever used to be, okay? And what that means for you, two things, okay? Not only are you going to be burning more fat at rest, but you're now going to be able to keep the weight off without having to work as hard. That doesn't mean you stop training, because if you do, you always lose muscle mass over time, so that will decrease your metabolic rate again. But if you keep up good activity levels, if you keep pushing and changing your programs, and if you're part of Strong and Sexy, every single month we change that program for you. So you're always moving forward, we're always increasing lean muscle mass, we're always burning fat, all right? What that means now is you're burning more fat at rest than you used to burn when you used to do that long, slow cardio. So the key to fat loss is combining interval training with making sure you're doing strength work to increase your lean muscle mass. Now, when it comes to food, it's a whole other area, but when it comes to exercise, right, these are the key things. And if you're eating a good food plan, if you're following our Strong and Sexy food plan, you're going to really see some amazing results quickly, because when you combine all three, all right, and you synchronize your training to your nutrition, all right, so the input and the output are working together to make sure that you're burning fat and getting great results, all right, you're going to be blown away with the change that you're going to see within yourself. So that in mind, what we did for you this month as a women's fitness fan, and also anyone who's following our Strong and Sexy blog, is we're offering you our Strong and Sexy program, everything in it, for $1 this month. So I really want you to take action. Start putting this into place, all right? We take you through this entire process, teach you how to do it, teach you the methodology behind it, how to think and approach it. And once you've done this and you've nailed it and you're getting to the point where you understand what day you're doing what and how you're focusing on what and what's increasing, and when you're doing your measurements and you're tracking your results and everything that we provide for you with your membership site and your software, okay, you're really going to start an amazing transformation journey, and you're going to become a strong and sexy woman, just like so many of our women have done over the last few months. And it's the whole reason that led me to do the sale this month, is because I want you to achieve the same sort of results that they've achieved, and I want you to make sure that you burn the fat that you want and feel the way that you want. So make sure that you take up that offer. It's on our Strong and Sexy page, it's also on our Women's Fitness page, and I'm going to put a link below this video as well, so that you can take that offer up. It's only for September, okay? And I really want to make sure that you make the most of this month and this offer.